Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Coffee Connections. My name is Seth Weiner, and I am your Rocktioneer. It's a beautiful day because I always tell you that, but somehow it really is in Atlanta. Although it is hot. I just took like an hour and a half walk, but it was worth it. Now I feel good. Do you feel good? How are you feeling? Are you nervous? Do you have a benefit auction coming up? Maybe a gala, and you're planning, and you're like really excited. We're getting everyone back together. Or are we? Well, get a plan B. Don't get worried. Just get a plan B. It's okay. It's going to be okay. There's ways we can work and live with this. Well, maybe we don't want to, but we got to. And it's time to bring your supporters back together, but there's ways to be safe about it. And if you're at all curious and concerned, give me a call. Free 30-minute consultations like I've always done and I will continue to do. More than happy to walk you through what others are doing and navigating through the mask mandates, people not wanting and being comfortable getting back there. How do you go hybrid? Is it going to cost you $20,000? Well, it could, but it doesn't have to. So let me tell you about how you can do it and navigate with your budget and your resources. I'm more than happy to help. Your Rocktioneer's here for you. That's why I'm not my Rocktioneer. I'm your Rocktioneer. All right, folks, let's get to the show, shall we? Today, I'm very excited. I've been wanting to have the Zoo Atlanta on for quite some time. We got Cressie Lewis, the individual giving manager, joining us today. Now, Cressie is a licensed attorney. Now, check this out. She's a certified fundraising executive. She's the CFRE, and hopefully she'll tell us all about it. I believe I know a couple others. I think some more and more auctioneers are actually starting to get that certification, but she'll tell us all about it. But she is an animal conservation advocate as Zoo Atlanta's individual gift manager. She oversees efforts to cultivate and engage donors like all of you. And she she's been able to help with the annual giving of $1,000 or more to the organizations, folks like yourself that want to give. She's able to connect with you all, and she leads the prestigious Conservation Society and is responsible for the zoo's planned giving program called Legacy Society. So buckle up. We're going to learn all about that today. She discovered the importance of zoos and their role in species survival while planning her wedding in Nashville at the Nashville Zoo in 2012. Great zoo, by the way, and great people over there. They also do a brew at the zoo, but I guess most zoos do brews at the zoos and booze and all that kind of stuff. Anyway, though, she's an advocate of the zoos all over. She loves to travel. She loves wildlife, including the wildlife that lives at her home by the name of Chris, her husband, and her adopted dog, Muffin. So, ladies and gentlemen, please welcome to the show, Cressie. Let's go ahead and bring her in. Hi.
Hi, Seth.
Good afternoon. How you doing?
Doing great. Thanks for that awesome introduction.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, thanks for joining us today.
And I love your theme music, too. I was dancing to the kazoo, and it was a great intro.
I always try to find a song, and I'll give YouTube credit for it because they have a library of just like free music you can use. So I'll always try to tie something with the theme of the client. If it's a school, I try to get something schooly, But this one came really quick. That was the first song I found, and it just felt like it fit.
Yeah, fits with the zoo and fun times, and yeah, absolutely. I love it.
All right. Well, now, folks, our last couple guests were not coffee drinkers. And guess what? I have a feeling. Cressie, are you a coffee drinker? Ah!
Sorry, Seth. Sorry, Seth.
But what is this mug you have?
It is Baby Yoda. I'm a big Baby Yoda fan and fan of the dollar section at Target. So,
yes,
big Star Wars fan.
And I wore this shirt not knowing that she was a Star Wars fan, folks. I swear. For those listening, it's a "May the wellness be with you," but it looks like the Star Wars, stuff. All right, so you're not a coffee drinker. Are you a tea drinker?
I do drink tea. I do like tea. I'm an Earl Grey with honey. I love that. I love afternoon tea. I would totally be a Brit.
Well, all right. Well, gosh, I mean, I'm gonna have to change this to tea time instead of coffee connections, or maybe tea tutorials. I don't know. We'll figure it out.
Cute. Yeah.
Well, I'm gonna hand the mic over to you. Can you tell everyone? I gave a little bit of info, of what you do, but fill us all in. What is it that you do?
Yeah. So I'm Cressie Lewis. I'm individual gifts manager at Zoo Atlanta. I've been there about 9 years this past month. And as Seth mentioned, I fell in love with zoos. Well, I've always been a fan of zoos throughout my life. And always, whenever I'm traveling to a new place, the zoo is the first place I check out. I love learning about animals, and it's just always been fond childhood memories of zoos. And then when I was getting married, I picked the zoo as my wedding venue and loved getting married at the Nashville Zoo. And I started work at Zoo Atlanta the following month, and just love it there. I really appreciate that the zoo is, our mission is we connect people with wildlife through conservation, education, research, and engaging experiences. That is what we do. We love connecting people with wildlife. I love connecting people with wildlife. And, that's my job as the fundraiser is I connect people with what they're passionate about and get people to, I learn more about our supporters, and then our supporters learn about the zoo, and it's just kind of a win-win. I actually stumbled upon fundraising. I was an attorney prior to becoming a fundraiser, and decided that I loved the zoo, and I loved what our CEO, Raymond King, was doing for Zoo Atlanta. He has a great vision and plan, and he was also a fellow Georgia Tech grad. So I reached out. I interviewed at the zoo, and I said, Zoo, I know I'm a licensed attorney. I just want to be helpful. What can I do? And the first year or so, I was basically a receptionist. I was answering phones for our advancement department. And then I learned from some fabulous mentors at the zoo the ins and outs of fundraising, and just kind of worked my way up and just loved learning about fundraising. I wish it was an option in school. I wish I would have known about it prior to stumbling upon this career, because it's a lot of fun, and it just fits my personality, and I can't imagine doing anything else now. So
That's wonderful. Well, yeah, I can see from the smile, and if you're listening, you can hear her smile. But she is very, very smiley, which means she loves what she does, and that's all you can ask for in life, really. All right, I got a couple questions for you. So,
sure.
connecting with the wildlife totally makes sense. It's a zoo, but my question then is, how do you take a visitor and turn them into a supporter on a financial way, through fundraising?
Absolutely. Well, it's been a challenge this past year. We were closed for 2 months last year. We were closed April and parts of May last year. So we were, normally our supporters and our guests are visiting us at the zoo, and because we were closed, they couldn't do that. So we really had to find new ways of engaging our guests and donors. And we found that through social media. We have a fabulous social media team. Even though they couldn't be there live in person to see our animals, we have Panda Cam. Now we just unveiled Gorilla Cam, and we just have great ways to stay connected to the zoo. So social media was a huge help. We did several online fundraising campaigns through Facebook. We had a matching gift challenge that was very successful. So we got creative. In fact, I don't know if you can see behind me, but I have a painting of a flamingo and a red panda. This was part of our Art Gone Wild. It's still going on. It's a 2-hour art class based on one of our animals at the zoo. It's all online. You pick up your art kit locally at a Sips and Strokes, and then for 2 hours you have professional instruction, and it's super fun. You can get together with friends and family, and it's all from your home, and you get to create these awesome works of art. I think this month is elephant.
I was going to ask you, do you have one of the not Indonesian, what am I thinking? Thailand elephants that paint?
Oh, we have an African elephants. We have both Tara and Kelly, who love to paint.
Oh, do they? All right.
One of their favorite enrichment. They paint two ways. They can hold a paintbrush in their trunk and kind of manipulate the paint that way. Or my favorite is we'll put paint on one of those, like, what do you call it? It's like a grease. It's what you put on a pan to keep the grease from coming out. It looks like a grate, kind of.
Okay. Oh, yeah.
So what we'll do is we'll put paint on that, and they will blow air through the grate and create
Ah,
splatter art. So
whoa.
it's really cool. Yeah, they have multiple ways to paint. They love it. It's one of their favorite enrichment items, and we actually sell their paintings in our gift shop.
You should really be selling it at your benefit auction.
We do.
Okay, good. I
Actually,
was
we
saying
have
that.
a huge gallery of animal created art. So we
Oh,
have a
that's
lot
awesome.
of animal artists.
And now the stuff that the monkeys make, maybe you want to let dry.
Yes, that's true. That's true. They're creative too.
So some of the fundraising, talk about some of the fundraisers you do. I mean, for example, I mean, again, just not knowing what exactly you do, I do know that the zoo does yoga sometimes. I know they do overnight parties, sleepover parties, stuff like that. Does that tie into the fundraising, or is that separate?
It's kind of it is separate. But of course the money raised from these all go to our daily operations. So it all intermingles. Yes, you're still supporting the zoo when you come for zoo yoga or one of our overnight night crawler programs or any of our educational programs. You're still supporting the zoo. But my role is specifically raising money for our annual fund. This is our daily operational fund, which keeps the lights on, keeps the animals fed, that kind of thing. So yeah, we're still raising money, but we just kind of have different purposes. So yeah.
And what are some of the ways that you go about raising funds for the zoo?
Yeah, so we've got a couple of ways. Being a member is a huge way. Becoming a member is a great way to support the zoo. And I help with our conservation society. This is members who donate $1,000 or more to the zoo. They get 2 behind-the-scenes encounters per year. So they get to go behind the scenes and meet one of our animals up close. They also get invitations to special parties and events and special preview openings. We do have a special preview opening. We have a new holiday event coming up in November, and Conservation Society members are going to be first to see that one. And we just had a Conservation Society barbecue. We were socially distanced outside last month, and it was a great time to see the new African savanna. So yeah, we have a lot of fun with that group. It is probably our closest group of supporters. And if you're interested, it's zooatlanta.org/CS and /CS for Conservation Society. But yeah, it's a great place to check out. You can see our list of benefits, and I will be your zoo concierge.
Oh, that is awesome. Now, my son's 8, but when he was like 2, 3, 4, I would love going to the zoo. I mean, being an annual member, just going and using the playground. It's like, it's so close. It's not like you're right there. So if you live in like Decatur or something, I mean,
Yes.
you go there and you eat lunch, you picnic, you see the elephant, you go home. You don't have to,
Yeah.
once the first time you go, you're like overwhelmed and all that. But then as you go, as you're a member, it becomes a different experience for anyone. And so for the kids, it's great because they get to build a relationship with the elephant,
Absolutely. And the kids know their names, and I'll ask, how's Tara doing today? And so
Yeah.
we have a splash fountain now, and it's great in the lower zoo and the kids zoo. And we're also trying to cater to older kids. So we have a treetop trail. It's an aerial ropes course that opened a couple years ago. So it's great for the older kids. And I've had a 4-year-old on it, and I've had an 84-year-old on it. So it's fun for all ages. You get harnessed up, there's a mini zip line, and you feel like you're an orangutan.
That's awesome. One of my favorite memories of the zoo is I went. It was with my son. He must have been about 4 at the time, and we're walking around, and then Atlanta, and a rainstorm can come out of nowhere. Well, all of a sudden, this storm comes just flooding everything. Water's everywhere. And I'm looking at him. I'm like, as a parent, it's like, your first thing as a Jewish parent, I'm like, oh my God, we got to go into shelter. I'm like, and then I'm like, nah, screw it. I'm like, he was ready to have fun. So I'm like, and so we just ran around getting soaking wet, looking at all the animals getting soaking wet. Everyone else is, trying to get under cover. And we were just being animals with the animals. And it was just like a great memory I'll always have. But the zoo is just great. And also, if you've never done one of these parties that the zoo has, like brew at the zoo or the When you go to the zoo after hours, it's such a unique experience. Do you all host those events as well?
Yes, we throw some great parties. So we've got Brew at the Zoo. It's now turned into a monthly, but smaller, so a little bit easier to socially distance event. I believe the last one is coming up at the end of this month, and that one's always fun. And we have in the past done a sip and safari for wine, but that's on a hold till probably next year. But our big gala, the Beasley Feast, is coming up on Saturday, September 18th. It is our one and only fundraising gala. We hope to raise over $1 million each year. And it's a great opportunity to come out to the zoo dressed to the nines. It's black tie. It's a strolling cocktail party with appetizers with local restaurants throughout the zoo. There's some animal encounters. We have several docents and volunteers who are out to talk about the animals. The animals are super curious to see what our gala patrons are wearing. I think they're fashion critics, but they're very interested in seeing all the jewels and everyone all dressed up and the smells of all the restaurants around. And then after the cocktail, we have a seated tented safari dinner. It's a multi-course dinner in a tent that's outside and decorated to the nines, and it's really cool. And I'm in charge of logistics this year, so
oh boy,
a little crazy.
Yeah, I imagine it's got to be a lot. Well, that sounds really cool. And again, you can go to zooatlanta.org to learn more about that, as well as to make a donation while you're there. You might as well. And if you make a donation of $1,000 or more, you know who's going to be calling you.
It's me.
Talk about a little bit of the Certified Fundraising Executive. What is that? Tell everyone.
Absolutely. It is a certification from the Association for Fundraising Professionals, AFP. There is a local Atlanta chapter, and it is a Certified Fundraising Executive certification. It requires at least 5 years of work experience in a fundraising field and significant funds raised. So I have to submit evidence on my application that I've raised a certain amount of money for a nonprofit, and that I also have volunteer experience and so many continuing education hours. And then it's a 4-hour exam. It is multiple choice. It is in a room, one of those testing facilities. So you're in a room by yourself, just clicking multiple choice. So it is an intense certification process. I started it May of last year, and I finished it in August is when I took my test. So
congratulations.
It's involved, but very cool, very worth it. I learned a ton about fundraising and in different areas of fundraising, because it really encompasses all aspects: grants, foundations, corporate, everything. So I recommend it. It's a very intense deep dive.
Yeah, it sounds great. And I imagine it's got to be fun to be able to pull some of those new resources and put them to use, and actually see Absolutely. That you're turning those $1,000 donors into $10,000 donors.
Yes, exactly.
That is awesome. Now the zoo, you have your event there, but doesn't the zoo also rent out their space for others and other nonprofits to come out and hang out? Which, by the way, is also outdoors. So kind of good time for that, right?
It's a win-win. We've got several locations that are great for events. For those who don't know, the city of Atlanta gifted Zoo Atlanta 5 acres to build our new African savanna. And they also donated the old cyclorama building to us, which we have turned into a multi-story ballroom and these great terraces that overlook our new African savanna. So you can actually have dinner in the ballroom with windows overlooking the savanna. You can see Tara, Kelly, and Misholo, our elephants, eating with you. And we've also got these great double layer of terraces. Then we've had some great breakfast and lunch events with the elephants. And we also have a big event tent where we have our Beasley Feast. So it's a great outdoor tented space in the middle of the zoo. So we have a lot of great event opportunities. And we are now booking for holiday parties. So don't forget about the zoo.
That is awesome. Wow. Yeah, I always wondered what that cyclorama, whatever you call it, was. But when did that close? I feel like it closed like several years ago now.
Yes. So we opened it. We opened this. Well, we didn't have a grand opening of our new event space because of COVID.
Sure.
we were scheduled to open around March 2020, but we've since kind of had a soft opening and available for booking. But yeah, the cyclorama painting moved to Buckhead History Center. So that's where it is on display now. But it was really cool. They cut a hole in the top of the building, rolled up the painting like a carpet, and used a crane to get it out of the building. Really cool YouTube video.
Yeah, that sounds really interesting.
Yeah.
Huh. I mean, I would just imagine you just get the giraffes to help out with that, right?
I know, right? That would have been easier. Yes. Actually, they were curious. They were watching the whole time.
Yeah. Now, none of the animals are listening. What's your favorite animal?
Oh, I get this question a lot. So I have to say that my favorite animal today is the red panda.
There.
This
oh yeah.
is Jackie the red panda. He is 4 years old. He is a youngster. He actually arrived during our quarantine, during our closure, and he is a young whippersnapper, and he lives in this like Ewok tree village.
Oh, cool.
A really cool habitat for him. So I love going up and seeing him. He's in a very quiet area of the zoo, so he's one of my favorites to visit.
Oh, that's awesome. And then, like, I'm just thinking, like, during COVID and stuff, or even without COVID, but I imagine there's been more of an opportunity to connect with other zoos nationally. And I'm curious to know what insights maybe you learned about fundraising. And this is how I describe it is, you're in a situation where you can't raise money the way you used to. Did you find a way or heard a way from someone else that you're able to pull money out of thin air?
Yes, we did talk with other zoos. They were extremely helpful in helping us open safely. So we started opening with one-way paths and timed ticketing, which we still have timed ticketing. If you are buying a ticket for the zoo, you must have a timed entry time, which you can buy online with your ticket. And but for members, you can walk up anytime these days, so that's great. But yes, we learned a ton from other zoos. We did do a virtual gala last year. So Beasley Feast was virtual, and it was still beloved by our patrons. We got pictures of our patrons in fancy PJs and still having drinks and dinner and listening to our program, which we did kind of behind the scenes of the zoo. So we did some kind of like insider information that a lot of, go behind the scenes, which, patrons don't normally get to do at events. So it was kind of a great experience to see a different view of the zoo than normal. So that was really cool. And then we also did, thanks to social media, and this was something I've been really proud of, we do a online t-shirt campaign where we raise money by selling t-shirts through a 2 or 3 week span of the year. And last year we featured one of our pandas, Yang Yang, and it was original social distancing expert and a picture of Yang Yang. And we raised about $35,000 in 3 weeks, which was huge for us. And it was a great way to connect other panda fans across the world. I think we had donations on 6 continents, which is fabulous. Wow. And everyone was supporting the zoo, and they were wearing their t-shirts everywhere. We got great pictures of people all over the world wearing their Yang Yang socially distanced expert t-shirt. And we picked Yang Yang because pandas are solitary and they're natural at social distancing, so it fit.
Something to learn. Yeah, totally fit. And that's the kind of thing, though. It's like, be it a T-shirt or be it a mug, maybe you always put those in your auction, and they always, sold 100 of them. But if you take that and you separate it, and now you do that, at a time where you're not really doing fundraising, you might actually not make, the 100, maybe the $5,000 you made on it, but turn that into $50,000. And so there's ways you could pull that money out of thin air, and keeping creative like that is great. So awesome. Well, what anything that we didn't cover that you wanted to maybe mention?
I do have one thing. We have a great way to connect folks to our animals through a wish list. We have a keeper wish list. Where the keepers pick enrichment items that they think the animal that they take care of would really enjoy. And sometimes it's like fake plants for a bird habitat, or it's a bubble machine, or it's men's cologne for scent enrichment for our fusa. So we have several different ways that several different items you can buy. We've got one for every budget. And that's also on our website under the support section. You'll see our wish list. And so that's a great way to connect with the animals. And then you can visit and see that item in use by that animal. So
that's
it's a
awesome.
win-win.
Now, do you all still take bamboo or no?
We do. We have a bamboo hotline and a bamboo website. It's online. So if you search our website for bamboo, you'll see a donation form. And we have 5 or 6 bamboo technicians that go about an hour's radius of Atlanta to harvest bamboo for our animals. And
awesome.
We've got 4 adult pandas. They eat about 100, 150 pounds of bamboo a day. So we go through a lot. So yes, if you've got bamboo.
That's crazy.
Yes, it's a lot. And it's tax deductible. I will give you a tax receipt for the bamboo that is harvested on your property. So, yeah.
That's awesome. So listen, if you got bamboo, you should do that. But also write a check for $1,000 while you give them the bamboo. Might as well, because you want to have a personal conversation with Cressie here. So,
absolutely. Absolutely. I give great chores.
All right. Well, awesome. Well, thank you so much for your time today. I've enjoyed chatting with you folks. Do go to zooatlanta.org. And before I let you go, with Coffee Connections, do you have anyone that you'd like to recommend that's a nonprofit here in Atlanta that's an innovator?
Oh, I do. Absolutely. Stuart Jackson of the Historic Oakland Foundation. The Oakland Cemetery is a neighbor of Zoo Atlanta. He's a great friend of mine, and he is definitely an innovator. So we'll have to welcome Stuart in the future.
That would be great. Thank you so much. I appreciate the intro there. Also, good luck with everything. It sounds like you've got a busy season ahead of you, and hopefully everything stays well. Yes. And I'll be looking for you. Well, I'll look for you when I'm at the zoo, but it might be hard to find me because I kind of fit in with the orangutans, you know?
I don't know. You're kind of scaly today. Maybe like Eastern indigo snake. I love it.
All right. Well, thanks so much, folks. We'll see you. We'll see you again on Thursday. Thanks. This Thursday, Tuesday. Have a good weekend. Thanks everyone for tuning in.